Alrighty. Shalom, shalom, shalom. To One Nation Israelite School. Let me find something. All right. So yeah, welcome to One Nation. This is what, the 3:30 class?
Yes, 3:30.
We're just gonna I'm not gonna try to stretch this out too long. I just wanna because we got another class I want to cover. I was planning on doing this class, of course, as the 6 o'clock class, which we've been doing, but I just seen the other class that I'm gonna be dropping today concerning baptism. I was like, I might as well just do that as the closing class. But as long as the tribes classes gets out there, they still getting out there. Whether we do it as main event or the 3:30 class. Because we coming to the end of the tribes. So you might as well, get ready to start moving into some more topics and false doctrines and stuff like that. So today we're going to deal with GAD, ASHER, NEPHTALI, and depending on how the spirit feels, we may also go into Joseph. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Now, we did GAD already in the Hispanics and Indians are not Israelites class. we had already touched GAD. Well, we had already did GAD. I'm just gonna basically redistribute that information here, so it'll be in a separate breakdown class. With that being said, shalom, shalom, sis. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and cover these so we get, because we coming to the end. We coming to the end of the 12 tribes. So let's cover these 3 or 4 today, and then we'll be finished. No, then next week we'll come back and do Benjamin. Yeah. So with that being said, what is this? Okay. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into GAD. Now, of course, we were all taught the same lie. And if you go off that lying 12 tribe chart, that false chart, it'll tell you that GAD is the who?
Similar Indians.
No,
a Native American.
They would say they are Native American Indians, right? Now, if you do study, you'll find out that Christopher Columbus was actually looking for the Hebrew Israelites. He did not even mean to come to the side. He got lost. He was actually trying to head over to the Asian Minor area, which in there is also a place named Turkey. That's where he was trying to go. He got lost and ended up on this side and landed in Cuba. Okay, so Salakia, he came here, and guess what? The people that he found, they were of Mongolian. So the people that is in Native American, that the ones that was in America wasn't even Israelites. But I'm gonna bring, trust me, I got a lot of stuff I gotta bring out. We just scratching the surface. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and deal with GAD. So let's pick up at Genesis 49 in verse 19.
Genesis 49 and 19.
Yeah, now y'all already pretty much got this breakdown in the Hispanics are not Israelites class, but we just gonna put it on another platform for them to have it.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 19. GAD, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
All right. So now there, GAD only has one verse. When you read this verse, does it tell you anything about a Negro turning into an Indian?
No, that's amazing.
Does it say anything about where GAD is located?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. So it says, read it again.
Genesis 49 and 19. GAD, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Okay. Tell St. John his rib needs to tune in.
St. John. St. John.
Give me a second, y'all. Okay, all right. I see the sister say she messaged her. Okay. So now read it again.
Genesis 49 and 19. GAD, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Right. So it says, GAD, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Now that's the only verse on GAD. By reading that alone, there's no location given, and there's nothing about a transformation in his dang nationality. Right. So now it says, GAD, a troop shall overcome him. So first thing I got to ask you, was Christopher Columbus a troop?
No.
No, he was not.
One man.
He was not a troop. All right. So now let's go to 1 Chronicles chapter 5. 1 Chronicles chapter 5. Let's find out when let's see when GAD was overcome. What troop overcame Gad? Let's find out. First Chronicles chapter 5 and start at 10. Shalom, bro. I see you in the building. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. You said 5 and 10.
Yeah, start at First Chronicles chapter 5, verse 10. So we already we read when we read Genesis 49 and 19, it said Gad is a troop, right? I mean, no, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but in the last he shall overcome.
Right.
Now, that don't give you no location, nor anything about his nationality changing from a Negro.
Right.
So now let's find out when Gad was overcome. Let's go to First Chronicles chapter 5, start at verse 10.
First Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 10. In the end days of Saul, they made war with the Hagarites, who fell by their hand, and they dwelt in their tents throughout all the east land of Gilead.
Go ahead.
And the children of Gad dwelt over against them, in the land of Bashan unto Salcah, Joel the chief, and Sapham the next, and Joanni and Saphat and Bashan. And
you already know I ain't gonna do you like that. Jump down to 18. Let me get chapter 5.
18. The sons of Reuben and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, of valiant men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with bow and skillful in war, and were 44,703.
So now we reading about Gad. They at war, right? You know what I'm saying? They doing their thing. Read on.
And went out to the war, and they made war with the Hagarites and with Jetur and Nephish and Nodab. And they were helped against them, and the Hagarites was delivered into their hand. And all that were with them, for they cried to God in the battle, and he was entreated of them, because they put their trust in him. So
we read here, Gad was winning. They was winning because they put their trust in the Lord, right?
Right.
So now jump to verse 25.
Verse 25. And they transgressed against the God of their fathers, and went a-whoring after the gods of the people of the land, whom God destroyed before them. And the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, king of Assyria, and the spirit of Telgath-Pilneser, king of Asher, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh.
Right. So when they put their trust in the Most High, they was winning. Right. Then what happened? They transgressed against the Most High, right? Right? And then the Most High put the spirit upon that Assyrian king, and then Gad was overcome by the by those troops. They were overcome by those troops, right? Yeah. And then it starts telling you about the different lands that they were scattered throughout. In that, watch this. Finish this verse out. He carried them away, even Reubenites and the Gadites and half the tribe of Manasseh,
and brought them unto Hael and Habor and Harar, into the river of Gozan unto this day.
Until when?
Until this day.
Oh, okay. So Gad was when they transgressed against the Most High. This is when the troop of Gad was overcome, and it's telling you what lands they were placed in. Is any of those lands in the Western Hemisphere or in America?
No.
Absolutely not. That is a lie. So while they were doing right, the Most High was delivering the enemies to them. But when they transgressed, then they were overcame. Okay? So when we go back to Genesis 49 and 19, so you get a clear description right there of when Gad was overcome. It said nothing about being in America and somebody was going to come and take their land. That's not there. So when Gad, a troop shall overcome Gad, but at the last, what shall happen?
But he shall overcome at the last.
Now, the overcome at the last is going into the breakdown of Hamashiach. All right, now let's prove that. Let's go to Hosea 6 and 9. The book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 9.
Give me a second.
Right after the book of Daniel.
Hosea, chapter 6 and verse 9. That's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hosea, chapter 6 and verse 9.
Now we're going to show you that this was talking about a Mashiach here.
And as troops of robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests murder in the way by consent, for they commit lewdness.
Right, so it says, as the troops of robbers wait for a man. That man is Christ, and we're going to prove it. And then it says, so the company, Salakia, read that again.
And as troops of robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests murder in the way by consent, for they commit lewdness.
Right, so it says, robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests murder in the way by consent, right?
Yeah.
So now, go to Matthew 26, verse 45.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 45. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 45. Then cometh he to his disciples and said unto them, sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed in the hands of sinners.
So the Son of Man, which is Christ, will be betrayed into the hands of sinners, right? Watch this.
Rise, let us be gone. Let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came with him a great multitude with swords and staffs from the chief priest.
From who?
The chief priest.
Hosea 6 and 9 said who would be involved?
The priest murderer.
Priests. So they waited for that. Okay, this is a clear breakdown right here. Christ is that man that Hosea 6 and 9 was talking about. The priest came with swords and staves in their hands. Come on.
From the chief priests and elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold him fast.
Right. So what happened to Christ after this?
That's when they came together to try to kill him.
Right. They put him to death. And then how did he overcome?
Oh, he rose again?
When he rose. All right. So now let's go to Genesis. So based off of what we just went through with GAD, does it give you a location? No. Does it tell you anything about them no longer being Negroes, they Indians?
No.
All right. So that there is a lie based off of Genesis 49. That is a lie. That is something, that is what we call interjection. They interjected the understanding to that breakdown. There's nothing there to tell you anything about them being in America, and all of a sudden they ain't Negroes no more, they Indians. That was a lie. So now let's go back to Genesis 49. And this one right here going to be even worse. Watch this. Genesis 49 and pick up at verse 20.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 20.
So now we're dealing with Asher.
Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal
Dainties.
dainties.
Now, I know it's got to be more here on Asher for them to have a breakdown that they got. Well, you telling me it's only one verse on Asher?
Yeah, was
Oh, but they tell you Asher is who? They tell you Asher is from Colombia to Uruguay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Asher only got one verse, and it says what? Read it again.
Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. So
He shall now, this is why this is crazy. Because let's define the word dainties real quick. Let me read y'all the definition of the word dainties. I'll tell you before I read it to you. It ain't nothing but food.
Man, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Watch. I'm gonna show you.
I heard you say something about some bread now.
Right.
Or probably like them damn
Sweet bread, danishes.
yeah, danishes.
Dainties. I want you to read it so they don't think I'm lying.
That's what I was thinking. Danishes and all that.
Something good to eat, a delicacy.
See, that's them desserts.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about. Big danishes.
It's all talking about food.
Yep.
Dainties is delicious food.
Synonym with appetizer.
Yeah.
Right. So now,
The Applebee's. So they're trying to say Applebee's is Asher. They got appetizer.
let's talk about good food. And read it again one more time.
Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties.
So it don't really give you much on ASHER, but it lets you know you're gonna have some good food.
Right.
All right. It's one verse. By this one verse, does it tell you anywhere about where ASHER gonna be located?
No.
Does it say anything about ASHER no longer being a Negro?
No.
Okay. But it does tell us he's gonna have some good food.
Mhm.
All right. So it doesn't say anything about his nationality not being the same as his fathers and his brothers.
They say that.
Oh, okay. Dainties just means good food. So now let's go ahead and go to Deuteronomy 33 anyways, though. Let's go to Deuteronomy 33 and verse 24. Deuteronomy 33 and verse 24.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 24. And of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil.
When it says, let him dip his foot in oil, meaning that he would dwell in rich land, or I'm saying he would have rich land or rich possession. Like to dip your foot in the oil is like to be in the fat of the land.
Oh, I thought it was like some places that got the oil.
You know what I'm saying? Remember now, some of this stuff is already done.
Yeah. I know.
But when it's going into Asher, when it says he dipped his foot in oil, that's like in a rich land or like in the fat of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember what oils come from.
It comes from that.
Well,
But-
fats.
Oh,
When you
okay.
dissolve
Yeah.
fats, they turn into
And
oils.
all that shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
So it's saying when he dwelt on the fat of the land, that's basically saying he did. Like when the Most High said that your place shall be the fatness of the earth. It's saying you're gonna be in the best places.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying so when his foot is dipped in oil, is basically going into rich lands, a rich land or a rich possession or the fat of the land. So it's not much on Asher.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Luke real quick, New Testament. Go to Luke chapter 2, verse 36.
You said 36.
Yeah, Luke 2 and 36.
Luke chapter 2 and verse 36. And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher.
So she from what tribe?
Asher.
Go ahead.
She was of a great age and had lived with a husband 7 years from her virginity.
So read on.
And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fasting and prayers night and day. And she coming in the instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that look for redemption in Jerusalem.
All right. So now here it says this woman, the sister Anna, Anna was from the tribe of Asher, but this shows us that what she was still where?
You said
She was still where? In the temple. Where's the temple?
In Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem. So she was still there.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Now at this point, what is she doing there? If they wailed over and what you call it?
Right.
If they supposed to be way over in Colombia to Uguayari, then what the hell is she doing in the damn temple?
Right.
Okay, I just want y'all to see, man. I'm trying to see this stuff. All right. So let's go back to Genesis 49. Because like I told you, it's not much on ASHER. It gets even worse. Read pick up at Genesis 49:21.
They like the women. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 21. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 21. NEPHTALI is a hide let loose. He giveth goodly words.
Right. Now they tell you he's in Argentina to Chile. Some even tell you he the Hawaiians, right? So I'm like, dang, he got to be Hawaiian. He say good words. He say aloha. He got to be off of this verse alone. Can you say anything about who they are or where they from?
No, because if you really look at the Hawaiians, it's Moabs.
Right. So think about this. When you read this verse, it don't give you no location of where NEPHTALI is at. Mm-hmm. It don't give you nothing that tells you his nationality gonna change from that of his father and his brothers. To be honest, there's nothing to put with that. That's it. You read that verse and keep going. And that's what we gonna do. I'm dead serious unless y'all got something y'all want to put to it with. There's nothing to put to that. So they just made something up and gave it and just gave him a nationality and a place to be at.
Well, that's witchcraft.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm telling you, man, when you read this thing and you go back, you go, okay, how in the heck off of Genesis 49 did you place these people where you want to place them and then give them different nationalities?
Oh, he was like, oh, she look good. Yeah, she is like she from ASHER.
Yeah, it made no sense. Let's go back to Genesis 49 and let's read on verse 22.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall.
Now, what they tell you is, they tell you that Joseph is a fruitful bow. Now, this is telling you that Joseph will have a lot of kids. So they say, well, that got to be the Puerto Ricans because they bunch up together a lot. Well, damn, Mexicans bunch up a lot. So how you going to tell which is which then?
Right. True.
You know what I'm saying? Just like it's a lot of Puerto Ricans, it's a lot of Mexicans too. How you going to tell me which one is which?
Right. Levi bunch up a lot too.
Even though we actually know that Joseph was no damn Mexican and he was no Puerto Rican.
Right.
As a fact, go to Genesis chapter 30, verse 22. Because if you just listen to them tell you, it sounds good. Mm-hmm. But if you follow the precepts, it won't make no sense.
Genesis chapter 30 and verse 22.
That's right. They make it up as they go, man. You know, that's Israel all day.
Genesis chapter 30 and verse 22. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb.
Now, before we go any, matter of fact, let's just read this verse. Let's finish it.
All right. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, the Lord shall add to me another son.
So she named him Joseph. Now, who was his mother? Rachel, right?
Yeah.
Now, Jacob was a Negro, right?
Right.
And his wife was a Negro too.
Right.
Let's prove that. I'm gonna show y'all. Let me get it. We can do it easily. Somebody just get me Tobit 4 and 12. Get me Tobit 4 and 12. This is the quickest way to show. Once they know that, once you got no choice but to admit that Jacob was a Negro, then you can't get around the fact that his wives were Negroes. You know what I'm saying? Let's prove that.
Tobit chapter 4 and verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son. and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe.
Which is not of thy father's tribe. Watch this, read on.
For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred.
Come on.
And were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land.
Right. So there, right there, lets you know that what? Isaac, Jacob, Abraham, Noah, they all married women that were of the same tribe as them.
Right.
So if you can admit that Jacob is a Negro, then guess what are you saying by default? Rachel was a Negro. So if Jacob and Rachel are both Negroes, then what are they children?
Negroes.
Negroes. So how all of a sudden they become white? How they become Spanish and speaking Spanish?
That's amazing.
It don't make sense. Okay, so now watch this. Watch this. We was at about the fruit being fruitful. Now, here's a point what everybody seems to ignore. Like the Puerto Ricans are the only ones that make a lot of kids or something. I know plenty of black men that got a lot of kids.
My dad.
I'm saying, how many kids your father got?
Got 11 boys and 8 girls.
11 boys and 8 girls. How many is that?
19.
That's 19 kids.
That's
My granddad got innumerable amount. All we know he got 20 something right now.
Right. Right. Watch this. Remember the video I just showed you with the dude when he was snapping on his baby numbers? He said he got what, 33 daughters?
Yeah.
And what, 13 boys?
Yeah. Yeah.
He got 33 daughters and 13 boys.
That man amazing.
You know what I'm saying? As we were getting, Jacob had 12 boys and a daughter.
Yeah, that's true.
So how you just gonna all of a sudden just make both of my grandparents had 12 and 14.
Amazing. Amazing.
So how you just gonna take a verse that say that they're gonna have a lot of kids and say, oh, that's them, that's definitely the Puerto Ricans. This I'm telling you.
They hate their own people.
True got like 13, 14 kids. So I'm like, come on, man. Come on. So when you follow the precepts, they all Negroes. Now, let's go somewhere real quick. Let's go somewhere. Because what they'll do is they'll say Hosea 7 and 8. Hosea 7 and 8. That's how they became pale and light-skinned. Let's go there real quick. And I'm gonna show y'all something else that believe it or not, if you just read on, they still cut themselves. Even though we know this verse ain't talking about complexion. But if you just read on, it's still gonna cut you if you want it to make it about complexion. Watch this. It said, "Come, bro, my cousin have 30 kids, and he just 40."
He amazing.
Come on, watch this, bro. Watch this. Get Hosea 7 and 8.
This bread making me hungry.
Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8.
Matter of fact, read. No, go ahead. Read 8.
Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8. Ephraim, he have mixed himself among the people.
So they said us say that he mixed himself with all the nations around him, right? But the scripture say he mixed himself among the people, not with the people.
Right.
There is a difference. All you got to do is look up the word with and then look up the word among, and you'll see that they have two totally different meanings.
Right.
But let's just put it like this. Let's say if you was let's say when we take the analogy of the cake, right? He said you put it in there and it burnt like it was in a flammable fire in the oven, right?
Right.
So what they would, by they saying, let's say you got a cake and you burn the heck out of the bottom. It's scorched black, but then the top of it is all pale and doughy. What good is that cake? What can you do with it?
Nothing.
You can't do nothing with it.
It's no good on both sides.
Bingo. So now watch this. He mixed himself among the people. Now y'all do know you precept to Psalms 106, 34 to 30, well, 33 to 30. What is it? I forget which one I'd be liking. I'm gonna just read it real quick. I'm gonna get Psalms 106 for those who never heard it real quick. I'm gonna read it. I'm already there. Psalms 106. Now this is about the mix himself among the people scripture. This is what I was going into. Psalms 106 verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathens and learned their works and served their idols, which were a snare unto them, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what that's going into about the mixing among the nations. It's about them being among the nations, learning their ways, and then serving their idols, right? Now, watch this. The unturned part, the unturned cake part is just saying when he unturned, meaning he did not repent. He unrepentant. He ain't turned from his sin yet. Okay. Go ahead and finish out. Watch this. I'm gonna show you something though. If they wanted to try to make it about complexion, this is where they get jammed up. Read on. Verse 9.
Verse 9. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yeah, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not.
Watch this.
And the pride of Israel testifieth to his face, and they do not return to the Lord their God, nor seek him for all this.
Watch this. Here's the point. Now, if they want to make it about complexion, this is where they still cut themselves. Read.
Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt.
They call to who?
Egypt.
What color is the nation of Egypt?
Black as a motherfucker.
Black. Watch this. Read on.
They go to Assyria.
They go where?
Assyria.
What color was the ancient Assyrians?
They were black as hell too.
They were black. So even if you wanted to make it about complexion, the two nations that tell you they were mixed among were black. Mm-hmm. So what do you get pale-skinned Spaniards?
Oh, you get that from hating people.
Okay. I just want to make sure I was the only one catching it. Because when you, that's the whole point. Why do they only read, remember, they only single out verse 8. Right. And they make the doctrine around that. If you read down, it tells you the nations they was amongst was still dark-skinned nations. Right. Black people. All right. So now, let's go back to Genesis 49 and read 22 again.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 22. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall.
Read on.
The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him.
Right. Now, when it says the archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him, is that future, present, or past?
It's past.
It already happened.
It's past.
Read on.
But his bow abide in strength.
Now, what I want to do is real quick, because we're talking about Joseph. Now, they tell you that Joseph is they say Joseph is now Manasseh and Ephraim. Ephraim's supposed to be the Puerto Ricans, Manasseh's supposed to be the Cubans, right? Now, your precepts to all of that, right? Right, all dark people, that's it. And your precepts to all of that, when you read it, you see Deuteronomy 33:17, Numbers chapter 1, verse 32 through 35, Numbers chapter 2, verse 34. That just breaks down and showing you how the sun thing went, right? And then it goes into their armies.
Yeah.
All right. So now, what verse did I stop you at?
24.
Go ahead, pick up at 24.
And his bow abide in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence,
hold on. Read 24 from the top again, Slakia.
But his bow abide in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel.
Right, and this is the stone of shepherd. So here his hands were made strong by the power of the mighty hands of the God of his father, which God of Jacob, which is the Most High. Mm-hmm. Right. So then here, so I won't confuse y'all. The stone, the shepherd, or the stone of Israel, that's going into Christ. So now you're talking about you breaking down Joseph in Christ now, right? Anybody confused? All right, I want to do it because I want to confuse y'all by doing too much talking on it. All right, so now read on, finish them out.
even by the God of the Father who shall help thee, and by the Almighty who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessing of thy fathers have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the uttermost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separated from his brethren.
All right, that's it. Because if you know, y'all do know that Reuben was supposed to get the inheritance, right? But when he did what he did,
yeah, it went to Joseph.
Right. Damn, my bag upstairs.
Wait.
I was gonna show y'all something. Don't worry about it. I'll bring it out later. We'll dig deeper into Ephraim or Joseph when I got my stuff in front of me. But we're gonna leave it there. So, based off of when you go through Joseph, does it give you anything about his nationality changing?
Not at all.
Anything about him being his location at?
Nope.
So how do they just come up with a location and then him being a totally different people other than his mother and his father? It's made up, man. It's false. It's false. The last tribe we're going to touch is Benjamin.
That's the imagination of the fabrication.
Right. We're going to do Benjamin. We ain't going to touch him today, though. Now, the thing about Benjamin, which is crazy, is they tell you Benjamin is a wolf, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it got to do with his music and all that other stuff.
Yeah, howling and all that.
Well, when I give you the breakdown, you're going to see it got absolutely nothing to do with no music. And you're going to also see, this is what a lot of people don't catch. Benjamin, if you go over there, they tell you they Judah.
They do.
The lion is on their flag. They tell you. Okay. Just wait. Next week, we going to knock Benjamin out the park.
No, you're right, because even if you listen to people like, see, they ain't going to know about people about this, like Mark Brown and them, like even your boy, he ain't from Israel, but we know Bob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
He say, the Holy Lion of Judah, and he keep talking about Judah all in his music.
Mm-hmm. Right. So what you'll see is that a lot, everything that they've been putting out is just nothing but a lie, bunch of made up foolishness. And then so we'll deal with Benjamin next week, and then at the same time we'll go into getting the precepts, so y'all can get the precepts. Some of the I ain't gonna precept the whole chapter. Give you some of the precepts to the second Ezra. That way, when you cutting these lies, you actually got precepts to show that it's lies. So we'll deal with all of that next week. IBN, Yashala, man. I see you tuning in, bro. You know what I'm saying? Keep your head up in here, you know what I'm saying? Stay in there with us. You know what I'm saying? Lord's will here. Hopefully you can come join us for Passover. We are not like these other camps. If you ain't a part of us this long, you can't come to the Passover. No, don't think we ask is you come to Passover. You know what I'm saying? And then don't come to fight and debate. You know what I'm saying? Just come chill, enjoy the lamb, the wine, the unleavened bread. And we just kick it in unity, man. Passover, we ain't got no special thing, ain't no tithes and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's Israel, they trying to keep the commandments, they want to come enjoy Passover, tell them come. You know what I'm saying? We ask that women don't show up in pants and brothers don't show up in dresses. You know what I'm saying? And also make sure that you fringe. If you don't have anything fringe, that's where your fee may come in. You know what I'm saying? You bring a shirt with you or something like that, or a skirt or something. Bring $15. We'll have a sister fringe you up, and you be right in the game. So now, that's how many tribes was that today? 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of them they're so short. You know what I'm saying?
ASHER, NEPHTALI, and Joseph.
Right. So we'll pick up the last tribe next week. Today class at 6 o'clock or 5:30. I'm probably anywhere between 5:30 to 6 o'clock. we're gonna go into another topic that was taught. When I came into the truth, we were taught that we did not have to get baptized. Baptized was only symbolic and up to the time of Christ. And once Christ came, baptism was done away with. You baptized in the word and all that. We'll go through the scriptures and see. We're gonna go through the scriptures and we're gonna see if that's true or not. But I can tell you up front, it's not.
They was making a lot of fun of you. You got baptized too, called you a wet dummy.
Yeah, they picked that up. They picked that a lot of people about getting baptized, and I'm gonna be one of the brothers to say, you know what? When I believe that, I used to do it too.
I did the same thing. I got to repent.
I had to repent. But you'll come to wait till today's class. Wait till today's class, 5:30, 6 o'clock. One of them times you're gonna get that notification we in here. Make sure you come back, be tuned in and ready to receive the words that's coming. If what I bring out don't convince you, cool. Do you have your fun or whatever. I'm saying, but I know as for the brothers and sisters here, we're gonna set up a date. And if the Lord spare our life, we getting dipped in that water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna make Lord spare our life. I would like to do it around Tabernacles time. But if a chance present itself earlier than that, we dipping in that water. All right. With that, yeah, anybody got any inputs, any questions, anything like that? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna close this session out. Any inputs, anything like that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
That's that you don't drown me while you baptized.
So, yeah, we definitely gonna touch it today. We're gonna get into it. So, but for lack of better words, what I can tell you is if you're not a Negro of Negroid descent, you already eliminated about being an Israelite. Because the Israelites are Negroes.
That's beautiful.
And Negro descent. With that, I say shalom to this portion. See you at 5:30, 6 o'clock, Lord's will.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.